Good morning. As we begin this beautiful spring morning, a little chillier than we were hoping, but spring will completely spring eventually. Last week, in Ted's absence, we did not celebrate our April birthdays. So I would like all of those with April birthdays to please stand up so we can sing happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. Best wishes for a wonderful year. Last week, Larry Hansmeyer shared with us a little bit about our OGHS, or One Great Hour of Sharing offering. You will find some information printed in your bulletin, as well as an offering envelope if you are so moved and have prayerfully considered whether or not supporting OGHS. I will tell you that it is one of the most effective offerings that the United Church of Christ is involved in. The money goes to relieve hunger and poverty, to assist refugees and orphans, and particularly today as we see the news day in and day out of all of the Ukrainians who are dealing with displacement and poverty and not sure what the next day is going to bring for them. Your money this year is really important. So I do encourage you to prayerfully consider offering to One Great Hour of Sharing. You can either put it in the plate as they are passed today, or prayerfully consider it and return your envelope sometime next week. This is the beginning of Holy Week. Today, of course, is Palm Sunday, our joyous celebration where we remember Jesus' entry into Jerusalem. But our services continue this week. For Holy Week on Maundy, Thursday, we will have a worship service here in the sanctuary at 6 p.m. On Good Friday, we will have a walk of the cross, which is an experiential activity, and that is from 1 to 3. You may come anytime in between that 1 to 3 slot. And then, of course, celebrating together on Easter morning at 10 a.m. I believe that is it for our announcements this morning. Please take a few moments to greet one another.
Well, good morning, everyone. Please remain standing while we join in the call to worship, which is found in your bulletins. The story of Palm Sunday tells of how people removed their cloaks and spread them out in front of Jesus as he entered Jerusalem. The cloak we wear every day to face the world is both the persona we wish to present and our defense against the elements. As we come to worship, may we be willing to lay down our defenses and disguises at the feet of the one who sees us as we really are. And then, set free for worship, may we offer our praises with open hearts and love. Amen. And please remain standing while we join in the prayer of invocation. O Spirit of true humility, may we neither be corrupted by praise nor destroyed by criticism, but rather have that true reverence for ourselves, which enables us to be channels of your peace. Amen.
And now I invite those who wish to affirm their faith by uniting with us, in this church, to please come forward. So I'm inviting Jane. By the way, Jane was to join but was ill the last time we had new members. So she has graciously agreed to do this by herself today. So kudos to Jane. Friends, we are all received into the church through faith. And Jane has found nurture and support in the midst of this faith community. And through prayerful consideration, she has been led by the Spirit to affirm her faith and to claim in our presence her covenantal relationship with the members of this church. And so, Jane, do you wish to unite with us on this journey of faith to discover and rediscover the meaning of holiness within you, between us, and surrounding us? If so, please say, I do. And will you let love be your guide, opening yourself to the Spirit of truth, even and especially when you may be led to something you had never planned to know? If so, please say, I will. And are you willing to share with us in joy and reach with us in love? If so, I am. We gather in community to offer our gifts to one another as we share this spiritual journey. It is in community that we learn who we truly are. In community, we come to know and honor the otherness of those who travel with us. In community, we become bound to one another by a connection deeper than words. Each of us, whole and loved, yet knows the need for support and care on this journey. And as you gather to pledge yourself to the journey through your presence here this morning, do you pledge your love, support, and care to this person on this journey? If so, please say, I do. And now I ask you, this church, as Jane gathers before us, I ask, do you pledge yourself to this journey through your presence here this morning? Do you, members of this congregation, pledge your love, support, and care with Jane on this journey? If so, please say, we do.
We do. Well, let us, as members of First Congregational Church of Reno, United Church of Christ, express our welcome. We stand
as witnesses to the commitment
of these people
make to the journey of faith among us, and pledge ourselves to their love, support, and care as she discovers the spiritual strength that is hers. It is my honor to introduce to you Jane Meacham Wilson, who you may not know yet, but I do hope that you take time this morning to greet her and introduce yourself.
Our gospel reading this morning is from Luke chapter 19, verses 28 through 40. After he had said this, he went ahead, going on up to Jerusalem. When he had come near Bethphage and Bethany, at the place called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples, saying, Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, why are you untying it? Just say, the Lord needs it. So those who were sent departed and found it as he had told them. As they were untying the coat, its owners asked them, Why are you untying that coat? They said, The Lord needs it. Then they brought it to Jesus, and after throwing their cloaks on the coat, they set Jesus on it. As he rode along, people kept spreading their cloaks on the road. And as he was now approaching the path down the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of disciples began to praise God joyfully with a loud voice for all the deeds of power that they had seen, saying, Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven. Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, Teacher, order your disciples to stop. And he answered, I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out. May God add his blessing to this reading.
We're taking off. Have you ever been on a roller coaster? You know, a roller coaster that goes way up to the top and then it comes way down. How's it feel? What's it feel like to be on a roller coaster? Fun. Yeah. Whoops. I better put that there. That's not safe. Fun. What else? Sickening. Yeah, I love that. Anything else? Is it ever scary? No, I think it's scary. I love roller coasters and I hate roller coasters at the same time. I love the up part. And then I get to the top and I'm looking down like our airplane and I'm scared. And I go all the way down. And what does your stomach feel like at the bottom? Sick. Yeah. So like, oh, I don't know if I can do this again. And then I do it again. And sometimes you spin. So this week in church is like a roller coaster to me. Today is a high day. Today is Palm Sunday when we have these leaves, and these leaves represent what the people were waving as Jesus and the disciples came into Jerusalem, and they were cheering and they were happy and they were celebrating. They were on the way up. All was good. And then throughout the week, some other stuff happened too. On our way to what? What's at the end of Holy Week? Do you remember? Easter is at the end of Holy Week. So we've got the celebration, Palm Sunday. People are excited. There were some grouchy people there, I won't lie. There were some people called Pharisees that said, Jesus, quiet those people down. This is no time for yelling. And Jesus said, even if I did, even the rocks would be cheering. This is a moment for celebration. So Jesus was traveling with some people. Do you remember who they were? Disciples, apostles, yep. And they'd been traveling for a while, and they were doing okay, but it had been a rough time. They'd been traveling, they'd been working hard, they'd been in crowds, they'd been sleeping out under the stars. Sometimes they had enough to eat, sometimes they didn't. And as they came into Jerusalem, I think they were probably pretty happy, but also pretty tired. And truthfully, the Bible shows us maybe some evidence of them being kind of annoyed with one another, maybe even a little annoyed with Jesus. Maybe Jesus was even a little annoyed with them because they'd been working really hard. And it was a rough time. And it reminds me of this time. And things have been kind of like a roller coaster recently, right? We had a pandemic. Things are really expensive. Do you ever go to the store and have somebody tell you we can't buy that? Too much money right now. Do you ever hear somebody talking about there's a war somewhere else? Yes. Do you ever hear people arguing about wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated, go to school, be on the computer? Do you ever hear we have too much water, there's a flood somewhere, or there's not enough water, we don't have any water here? Right? A busy, hard time, a roller coaster. So this week, as we come into Holy Week, Jesus is saying right now in Palm Sunday, this is a time for celebration. Now, he knows that the rest of the week is going to get rough, that those Pharisees, those people who were complaining, they actually weren't very funny. They were pretty powerful. And over the week, we have more celebration, a Passover feast, and more sadness, ending with Jesus being crucified, dying on the cross. And so this week is the beginning of the end of Jesus being on earth with us as people. But the week ends on a high point because at the end of the week, Jesus has died. But then what happens at Easter? What do we celebrate next week? Do you remember? Coming back. The resurrection, the promise of not just a Jesus here wandering down the street so we can wave palms at him and throw our sweaters down on the ground for him to walk on so that his feet don't get hurt by the stones, but a Jesus that is here all the time. So during this week, we sometimes hear the word Hosanna. And Hosanna is two things. It's both a celebration, a Savior, wonderful, joyful sound, and it's also a plea. Help us, save us, be with us. It's both of those things, the highs, the lows, the roller coaster. So 2,000 years after that first Holy Week, we're still waving palms. We're still starting a week of reflection and prayer. And I think it's important to remember on this roller coaster that even when things are tough, we need joy. We need fun. We need excitement. That matters. So even if the world sometimes feels like that scary, sickening, and fun roller coaster, we can remember the Hosanna, joy, adoration, shouting, flying, and also recognize it's a call to God, who always answers, even though we sometimes don't understand what the answer means. So let's go to Sunday school, okay? Fly on back down the aisle.
Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna to the King of Israel. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
What a blessing this morning to have as many of our choir members back as we have this morning. Thank you for blessing us with your beautiful anthem. Let us pray. Oh God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight this morning. Amen. The story of Palm Sunday is featured in all four Gospels. The story of Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, the story with the humble beast and the shouting crowds, the branches, the coats and cloaks spread like a carpet upon the road. This story has center stage in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Making the cut in all four Gospels, well, that's a big biblical deal. Christmas didn't make it into all four Gospels. Two of the Gospels make no mention of the pregnant Mary for whom there was no room in the inn, or the shepherds watching their flocks by night, or the angels, or the star, or the wise men, or the babe in the manger. Christmas only makes the cut into two Gospels. The Lord's Prayer didn't make it in all four Gospels. The prayer that Jesus taught his followers, the prayer the church has recited over the course of more than 2 millennia. The prayer recited alike in Kenya, in huts, and European basilicas, by Catholic and Orthodox, by Protestant and Pentecostal. Even Jesus' own prayer isn't in all four Gospels. It only made the cut in two. The parable of the Good Samaritan and the parable of the prodigal son appear in but one Gospel. The Beatitudes, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek, blessed are the poor, made it into only two Gospels. But the Palm Sunday story, the story of Jesus's entry into Jerusalem, has pride of place in all four Gospels, which makes us wonder if we've been wrong all along. Christians have regarded Pentecost as the beginning of the church's birthday, the day the church was born in fire and wind, but I'm not so sure. Perhaps Palm Sunday is the church's real birthday. Palm Sunday is the day that the followers of Jesus grew up, found their voices, summoned their courage, and assumed their role as witnesses to God's will on earth as it is in heaven. Palm Sunday is the day that Jesus' followers stepped out onto the world stage, stepped out in earnest as lead actors, moving from the chorus line to center stage. Let's set the scene. The ancient city of Jerusalem during the annual Passover festival is a lot like New Orleans during Mardi Gras. The city swells with visitors from all over the world. The city is alive, abuzz, exciting. Every possible room is rented at a premium price. Grocers have stocked their shelves to capacity. Everyone is out of doors. And the visitors and pilgrims are readily identifiable by their clothing and by their manners and by the way that they meander up and down the streets, pausing and gazing and pointing. Merchants sell their wares, exotic foods and trinkets, brightly colored cloth on street corners and in public squares, and musicians and street performers gather knots of people who gape and laugh and applaud. Musicians are the ones that help that atmosphere sizzle and pulse. The whole exotic world has come to Jerusalem. And to keep the peace, Roman legions, helmeted, armor gleaming, astride, noble steeds patrol the streets. Now, until this day, until this moment, the followers of Jesus had been just that, followers, largely passive and reflective. They had traipsed after Jesus all over Palestine, but had never taken center stage. When he argued with civil and religious officials, they watched, tense and captivated. When he defended a prostitute, they gasped. When he conversed in public with a woman from Samaria, they winced. When he defied the Sabbath laws, they cringed. And when he declared that the last shall be first, and the first last, and the rich poor, they glanced around guardedly to see who was listening. When he kissed lepers and healed those of broken body, they whispered in awe. Until this day, this moment, the followers of Jesus had been just that, followers, largely passive. But on Palm Sunday, a shift occurs, a transformation begins, and the shift, it's seismic. Roman soldiers gather to investigate the fuss. Steeds snorting, armor gleaming, swords flashing, and crests. Crests bearing Caesar's proud and commanding image. And against this display of power and authority, against and in defiance of it, the followers of Jesus stage a street drama, announcing that their hearts and their allegiance, their loyalty, belong not to Caesar, not to the emperor of Rome, to that pretender god, but to Jesus, Prince of Peace, in front of God and Rome and everybody. They proclaim that their hearts and their allegiance, their loyalty belong not to Rome, but to peace, a peace which emanates from the very heart of God, a peace that passes all human understanding. They shout in public that they belong to God and not to Caesar, which is nothing less than an act of sedition. For the past 3 years, from the day that Jesus called them from their fishing nets until this moment, the commitment to follow Jesus had been personal. It had been intimate and private. But now that commitment to follow Jesus becomes public and it becomes political. Palm Sunday has pride of place in all 4 Gospels because it's the day the followers of Jesus become lead actors and took center stage. It's the day the church came out of the closet, the day the church distanced itself from the state and from all worldly power. This was the moment that they absolutely and entirely announced all allegiance to any potentate, earthly prince, state, or sovereignty was no more. And that now they vowed that they would bear true faith and allegiance to love and to peace. That was the day that the church became the church. We have been taught well by Jesus and those first followers. And it's our turn now. our turn to show the world what love looks like, to show the world what it looks like to love our enemies, not only our enemies, but the immigrant and the alien, the stranger and the other, to show the world what it looks like to forgive those who trespass against us and to forgive not only once, not even 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. In a strikingly violent world, it's now our turn to show the world, to show our family, our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues, anyone we meet, what it looks like to turn the other cheek in a merciless world, a dog-eat-dog world, a might makes right world. In a world red in tooth and claw, it's our turn to show the world what mercy looks like. It's our turn now, today, to give witness to mercy and love and compassion. It won't be easy. It will be costly. It may cost us our lives. It was on Palm Sunday that the followers of Jesus began to understand just how costly and rigorous Christian life is. And it is a way of life where we daily practice courage, practice kindness, exercise gentleness, and work at mercy and generosity. And it's a full-time job. On Palm Sunday, the church was born, not in wind and fire, but in courage and conviction. On Palm Sunday, the church found its feet and found its voice and swore allegiance to love and peace. May the church be born again today, on this Palm Sunday, in me and in you. Amen. As we gather before God in prayer, I lift up those from this community who are in need of our prayers, our love, and our support. And so I lift up Mike and Dorothy. Mike needs to be open to getting and allowing help for Dorothy, who has dementia. Mike has his own medical issues, and he needs our help and prayers. I also lift up Cinda DeWick. Cinda will be having valve replacement tomorrow. And so we ask for prayers for both Cinda and for the doctors who will be treating and tending to her tomorrow. Let us continue to pray for those in Ukraine, those who have lost loved ones, who have been injured, who have been displaced as their country has been torn asunder by war. Let us pray. O good and great God, today we begin this Holy Week on a high note. We remember the beautiful story of Jesus entering Jerusalem and the hosannas that rang from the people's mouths. But we do know that this is the high in a very long and dark week where we remember all that happens and we remember all that Jesus must go through. But today, oh God, as Sarah Linda reminded us, today is a day of hosannas, a day of hallelujahs, a day when we, as your church, stand strong and courageous against all in this world that would harm, that would hurt, that would oppress and destroy all that is good and wonderful in this world. Give us the courage, O God, as we go forth from this gathering to stand firm in those convictions, to once and for all take center stage and proclaim your message of love and forgiveness, compassion and justice. Hear our prayers now that we lift to you in silence, O God, those joys, those concerns which we hold close to our hearts. Hear us now. We lift all these prayers to you, O God, in the name of Jesus, who taught his followers to pray. Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Let us now offer to God a portion of what we've been blessed with for God's continued work through this church, to this community, and to the world.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise God, all creatures here below. Praise God for all that love has done. Creator, Christ, and Spirit
Well, please remain standing and join me in the prayer of dedication. May these gifts be used to bring healing, wholeness, and joy to the world of God so dearly loved. Amen.
Oh,
And now may God grant to you the courage to be ambassadors of love, mercy, peace, and grace. Amen.
God,